Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going good, Huey. Good to be back.
Yes, here we are, back at it for another episode of In The Kliq. As always, please remember to subscribe to us where we get your audio at. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, thank you. And remember to give us a 5-star rating, leave a review there. All that stuff helps out. If you're listening to us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up on this video and subscribe and share the podcast. You can email us inthekliq@gmail.com and follow us on social media at In The Kliq as well. Brian, first off, happy, or I say happy, I guess, yeah, belated Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Huey. Merry Christmas. It's almost the New Year's. I hope you got everything you asked for from Santa.
Yes, I did. Which you kind of know, my Santa Claus, my dad, got me a Rodecaster Pro for Christmas. So that will be here. The new generation, the second model. So that will be here this week. So I'm looking forward to that. As you and I were talking, there was just this deal on it that was too good to be true. Like I said, that thing's normally like $700. Every website, $700. But this one I found on BH Photo was $150 less. So for $550, I was like, I could not pass it up. Like, I would kick myself because I remember, because that came out earlier this year, and I apologize for everyone listening. He was like, what's a Rodecaster Pro? It's like a little, I call it like a mini radio station. It's like a little mini mixer, all in one. You plug your microphones, audio levels, all that stuff. It's just like the best mixing board you could probably get right now. The first generation, I know a lot of people that use it. A lot of your favorite podcasts use that thing. So the second generation came out earlier this year, and all the reviews were, oh my God, this is amazing. It blows the first generation out of the water. And it's got even a setting for the Shure microphones you and I use. So all that stuff. But yeah, once it came out, it was like I said, $700. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I was like, I was trying to be patient. I was like, let me wait for Black Friday, see if there's a sale. Nope, Black Friday came. Every website had no sale on. I'm like, damn it. All right. I was thinking, maybe I'll do my taxes or something and get a refund and maybe spend it there. But then sure enough, literally, I think it was Christmas Eve or was it the 23rd? I was looking online. 23rd. I looked online, I saw it was on sale. I was like, what? 150 off? It was the only website to have it off. So, I jumped on it because I knew if that sale ends and I didn't get it, I would be kicking myself because that's a huge chunk taken away. So, looking forward to the new year for podcasting purpose. We will be writing style with some better tech for In The Kliq. But yeah, other than that, no, Christmas was very good. So, family stuff, Christmas Eve. And then my brother made an awesome dinner yesterday. Watched a lot of football and basketball. And let's see. Saw the Warriors picked up a win. Lakers lose, unfortunately for you, Brian. Sorry.
Of all my teams, every single one of my teams, football, basketball, and baseball. I don't know why.
What's your baseball team?
The Diamondbacks.
You're a Diamondbacks fan? Oh, man. Well, hey, at least you got Matt Bumgarner, former Giant legend, but he's on the decline, so.
We always do this.
How are you a Lakers fan, a Diamondbacks fan, and a Colts fan, and you're from the Bay Area?
So I've been, growing up, it was a mixed household. My dad was a Raider fan, my mom was a Niner fan, my uncle was a Cowboys fan, and my dad's best friend was also a Niners fan. So I had Raider this, Niner this, Cowboys this, right? It was I have millions of pictures with it's actually crazy. You'll see me in one picture with Niner pajamas on, and then I have a Cowboys jersey.
Okay.
And, for like a family dinner or something, and a Raiders jacket with a beanie. So I went through all that, and it's just like, you know what? When I was old enough to actually understand sports and like it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like the teams that I like, you know. Okay. So obviously the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, you know, I love Kobe, and the Diamondbacks. You know, I really became a fan. Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling. Man.
My dad, for years, people said my dad looked like Randy Johnson.
You know what?
He hates it. He hates it. He's probably listening in the other room right now, me telling this. He's shaking his head. But yes, at one point, I think it's more just the mustache. That's the main thing. My dad with his mustache.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's actually pretty cool.
No, but I'm with you though. Like I said, growing up in the 90s, I was, a Warriors fan, but also I love Patrick Ewing. So I was also like a Knicks fan. Like whenever the Knicks were on TV, I used to watch because I love Patrick Ewing. He's my favorite player growing up. So,
well, and I think for me, I grew up most of my life living in Solano County. Right. I lived in Fairfield, so I was a lot closer to the Sacramento Kings. So, you know, those Kings Lakers rivalries in the 2000s, you know, that was everything. So,
dude, I mean, Vlade, Chris Webber, Bibby,
Christie, Peja Stojakovic, Bobby Jackson.
Dude, Peja, his son, Peter. Oh my God. No, but Peja, his son is like on the up, right? I don't know how old he is, but I think
I think so.
There was some video of Peja showing his son, like they were working out together shooting, and Peja still got it. Dude, that corner jump shot he had was deadly. But no, I get what you're saying. So, no, like I said, it's cool. I mean, that you found your own identity and your own teams that you want to fall in love with. That's cool. That's right. I respect that. Yes. So, but no, I appreciate you recording right now because I know the Colts are on Monday Night Football right now. Here, you and I recording Monday night after Christmas. But yeah, how was your Christmas? Everything good there?
Yeah, it was good. I got a little sick a couple days right before Christmas. Yeah. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still a little congested. I don't have a tissue in my nose. So if I don't have a tissue in my nose, I feel fine, right? I do have a little bit of cough. I don't know, maybe over the last month I've been having this cough lingering, and then suddenly a couple days ago it just came back and I got a headache, and it was, I don't know, some head cold. Hopefully it's not COVID, so that's good. But I'm feeling a lot better than I did a couple of days ago, and I was able to go see my family, you know, on Christmas yesterday. So
that's
it was good.
Yeah, and then after dinner, my brother and I went to Christmas in Park in San Jose. We just wanted to get out of the house, so cool display to have downtown San Jose. And then we drove back up 101, went through San Francisco, drove by Union Square just to see the tree in action and just how quiet San Francisco was, downtown San Francisco. It's kind of eerie. And then we came home. So it was a productive, laid back day. Enjoyed my vacation. Still got one more week left before I go back to work. So
one more week. That's awesome.
Yeah. So today was just okay to start what I need to do around the house. So I was reorganizing, clean up my room. It's been long overdue. So, but no, this week in between Christmas and New Year's, it's like the weirdest week ever. It's like all sense of time is out of the door. I don't know about you. It's just you get so busy for like a month after Thanksgiving for Christmas. Now it's done. And you're like, what do I do now? And so it's just this awkward week, I feel like, where time is different and everything like that. So, but anyway, all right. So this is not a sports podcast, unfortunately. I know we could go off on a tangent.
In the Kliq Sports.
I know we have some sub shows, but no, a lot to talk about. I know we haven't done an episode in a couple weeks, but there's so much to catch up on, especially Kliqbait news. There's so much that's happened in the last 2 weeks that we're going to go through it, some of the big stories here, and just give our thoughts on it, power through it, and then we'll go through some of the highlights from Raw and SmackDown recently. Raw tonight is a best of show, so luckily that kind of frees us up from having to watch something new, and we can still just reflect on what's the last couple things we've seen on TV, give our thoughts on there, especially into the new year. But yeah, let's jump into some Kliqbait news. And I feel like, here we are, it's the last week in December. January is almost here. Therefore, the road to the Royal Rumble is about to get underway. And then after that is the road to WrestleMania, which I'm super excited for. Actually, Brian, on a side note, I think this week I'm going to start looking at hotels for WrestleMania just to kind of, start planning that out, because that will be here before we know it. So I don't want to kind of wait last minute. But
yeah, definitely.
And then, we got to take care of our AEW application stuff. And like I said, I'm going to use this week off to catch up on things, get ready for us in the new year. So, but with that being said, so like I said, I feel like I've seen some reports, just various things going on at WrestleMania, a lot of speculation, rumors of what might be going on in WrestleMania. Now, Brian, I just thought this off the top of my head. Did you see there was a report that apparently like Triple H and the creative team more or less has night 1, night 2 planned out for the most part? Was that an official report somewhere? Or did I just see that online somewhere? I'm kind of guessing here.
Yeah, I think everybody saw it.
Okay, so
I don't know if no one ever...
Was it WrestleVotes? I can't remember.
I don't think it was WrestleVotes. I can't remember who exactly it was, but I remember them saying that
there's a general outline.
Yeah, and that they have everything planned out, like what they want to do
months in advance, which is such a weird thing to say now, because for how many years WWE with Vince in charge, which has changed up things last minute. So it's actually kind of nice that it sounds like the creative team has a general idea of where they want to go come WrestleMania weekend, and so now it's just more of executing for the next couple months that plan. So it's just kind of nice that they seem like they got an idea what they want to go with, and God forbid, knock on wood, any injuries or anything that they'll jeopardize that story. But so with that being said, today some exciting new news in regards to WrestleMania and WrestleMania plans. This is coming from WrestleNews.co, and I guess I should definitely give a spoiler warning. Maybe not listen right now if you don't want to hear this, but I'm just giving you a warning here. But then again, if you're listening to us, you're most likely, you already know what's going on and you want to, hear that conversation anyway. And
that's right.
So it looks like the tentative plans for WrestleMania main event for night 1 and night 2 have been laid out. So WrestleNews.co has been told that The Rock is still not locked in for WrestleMania. And the current plan, if The Rock can't do the show, is for Cody Rhodes to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. WWE wants to get The Rock committed before the Royal Rumble, because that is when things will get set in motion for Mania, which we all know that is the case. Royal Rumble sets up the road to WrestleMania. WrestleNews.co is told that this is the current plan for the main event matches for WrestleMania. So night 1 for the WWE Championship, it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre or Cody Rhodes. Night 2 is Roman Reigns versus TBD. And the reason it's TBD is if The Rock can't do the show, then the plan is for Cody Rhodes to take that spot. So when that news came out this morning, everyone started speculating, one, their thoughts on this, and then 2, all right, how are we going to get there? And, big question is, okay, so the undisputed WWE Universal Championship is going to be broken up, apparently. It's going to be one belt one night, the other belt the other night. So it looks like Roman will not be going into WrestleMania as with 2 titles. It looks like it's going to be broken up before then. So, yeah, Brian, I'll turn to you, man. Just your initial thoughts on this announcement of the current main event plans for both nights.
Yeah, initially I thought it was a really good idea, but then I realized that there's a few problems.
Yeah,
a lot of people, if anyone knows Cody, everyone knows which championship he wants, and it's that WWE Championship. And I just don't think the story for the Universal Championship, it just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit Cody. I think even a Drew versus Seth for the WWE Championship, you could make it makes sense, but there's so many more stories that you can put, there's so many more people that you can put in that position, in that situation, especially for WWE title. No shade on Drew, not at all, but I think if Drew, he got some unfinished business. If he's going after one of the world titles, I think he wants the one from the guy Roman Reigns, tribal chief, right? I think so. If you just swap opponents for Rollins and Roman, if you're going to do that, then that would be perfect. And I know a lot of people don't want to see Rollins and Seth again, because they've wrestled 3 or 4 times. I'm sorry.
Rollins versus Seth, same guy. Wow, that'd be amazing if he could fight himself. That's the main event. That's the main event for night 1. It's Seth versus himself. He just punches himself and goes, freaking.
If Vince was still in charge, he definitely would try to book Seth Rollins versus Seth Rollins.
What? It's 2 different people. I thought the Messiah was one person and freaking Rollins was someone else.
It'd be Seth Rollins versus Seth freaking Rollins. Kind of like Taker versus Taker at SummerSlam 94 or 93. I think it was 93. 93. Yeah, it was 93.
I think so.
It was 93.
Ezekiel and Elias here.
We were heading there with that story,
dude. I mean, that's the biggest what if. I would love to find out if Elias ever does like a shoot interview to explain what was the plan with Ezekiel, what was the end game for that storyline, playing this twin brother of his. We know, Kevin Owens took him out and he was off TV for months. Comes back, has a full beard again and stuff. So obviously we knew they dropped the Ezekiel character, or Triple H did. But I would love to know, what was the end game? Like, we saw Ezekiel and Elias had that segment together, but you could tell it was like shot 2 different ways, and Elias had that terrible fake beard on. But I would love to know, what was the point? Would they tag with each other, have a match against each other?
Right.
The biggest what if in WWE today.
It'd have to be cinematic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, body doubles and everything. So a lot to break down here with this latest report as far as the main event plans for WrestleMania. And I'm with you as far as, one, I'm still shocked that The Rock is not a locked deal yet. I feel like now it looks like the drop dead deadline, the yes or no breaking point is Royal Rumble. So it's like, okay, either we know or we don't. Like, it looks like The Rock has to give them an answer by Royal Rumble, or I would hope maybe like the week of, so they can figure that out. So it looks like though they have a backup plan, which is smart, because if The Rock can't do it for whatever reason, then at least they have a backup plan. But I think, God, it's going to be such heartbreaking if it's not The Rock. After all this talk for the last 2 years that The Rock and Roman were going to main event a WrestleMania at some point, not to happen.
This feels like a bad night during NBA free agency when you think you're expecting your team to make a move and finally make that trade, right? And then it ends up not happening, and now you've wasted all this time, all this energy.
You say that for San Francisco Giants fans recently with Correa,
man,
all that stuff. Sorry, sports talk again. Sports talk in the Kliq podcast. But no, but I'm with you. It's like, to me, it's really kind of shocking that they don't have The Rock locked down yet. And I don't know whose fault that is, or what the deal is. I mean, they're waiting on The Rock. Like Rock, you don't know your schedule for like the next 6 months. I mean, like, right. Is there like a movie deal that's coming up that you might be busy filming? Like, I'm just kind of confused, and hopefully maybe we'll get an explanation one day, like what the holdup is. But like if you have a movie that you're gonna be filming, I think you would know by now if you're going to do it or not, and then therefore what your schedule is throughout 2023. So I don't know, unless something last minute comes up here, but yeah, I'm really confused.
Unless it's actually locked in and no one's really talking about it, and Rock is, he does what he does when people ask him about it. I mean, because I can only imagine Triple H. Bray Wyatt was another case of the worst kept secret, right? But that's because that's because they ran vignettes and did all type of obvious Bray Wyatt things with that build up, right? So I mean, I can imagine if Triple H, he's been better with keeping stuff to himself, especially with people returning and stuff. So maybe that was just a phone call between the two of them. All right, so you're gonna be there. All right, cool. And then maybe he, let me tell Nick and Steph, and that's it. We won't say nothing to anybody until we absolutely have to.
Yeah, I mean,
which will probably be a few days before his return to Monday Night Raw or something.
Yeah, no, you brought up a good point. I mean, this is pro wrestling, so the art of surprise is very hard to do in today's world, especially with all the dirt sheet writers and websites and social media, and everyone with a camera on their phone documenting everything. It is tough to create that element of surprise. For all we know, just throwing it out there, this could be a work on us that are like putting this report out there and just to get us knuckleheads to talk about it. But yeah, for all we know, The Rock's already been locked in for like months, for all we know. But they're just doing this just to kind of give that little bit of a doubt. You know what I mean?
Huey, if that's the case, then how does Cody and Seth end up being for the WWE Championship? That would have to mean that Roman's either got to lose one championship or he's going to get stripped or something. And I know all possibilities and things have been talked about, right? Like all these different things have come out about ideas, and people have been like even saying their ideas themselves, like what they would do if they were in charge, right? Like I don't know, like what would be the best case scenario at that point?
That's a very good segue right there. That's a great point. Is okay, how do we get to this point where both titles are defended separately on each night? How do we get there? Roman's been double champion since April last WrestleMania. That's the $1 million question now. I've seen people online already speculating. We've been speculating for months different ways to break the titles off from one another. And it's interesting, which I'm glad out of the two, it makes sense for the WWE Championship to be the one that gets away from Roman, because he won that back in April. He's been Universal Champion since, 2020. So it makes sense for the Universal one to stay with him no matter what. The WWE Championship, I don't know. Like, I think, was it Louis Dangor? I saw him tweet an interesting idea was, maybe they make the Royal Rumble match. It's not for a number one contender for a title. It's actually for the WWE title, which they did. What was that? Coming up 8 years ago, right? When Triple H won it in 2015. Yep. Is that what? Wait, was it that the one where Triple H won the Royal Rumble and became WWE champion? Was that?
That was it. I believe
Was it 2015?
It was 2015.
Let
no,
me double,
it wasn't 2015.
Because 2015 is where The Rock and Roman came out and they were booing, right?
Yeah, so it was 2016 because they ended up Roman ended up winning it back at WrestleMania 32. So it was the year after.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Okay. There you go. Okay.
Now I'm confused. Was Roman champ then? And did he have to defend it?
Let's see.
Or was it vacant?
Okay, Roman eliminated Rusev in 2015 Royal Rumble. 2016 Royal Rumble, Triple H won, eliminating Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. All right, you're right. Yeah, 2016. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious how they're going to get there, though, is, how they're going to get that WWE Championship off Roman. Now, is that somehow connected to Sami Zayn and, his connection with the Bloodline? That's going to be really interesting here. So, for me, though, I'm with you, though. I'm a little disappointed if The Rock doesn't work out, that Cody is his sub, his fill-in for the Universal title. And I don't like that either. Like, I feel like the story that he laid the foundation for at WrestleMania this year, or the night after, the Raw after WrestleMania, his goal is to win the WWE Championship, the title his dad never held or did hold, but then got taken away from him. So for me, like, if it's not WWE title or buzz, I feel that's a little unfortunate, and I think that's a little, that sucks. I don't want that to happen here. So but with that being said, though, it doesn't look like, we're going to get Cody versus Roman for the WWE title as I think a lot of people, I think, the plan was everyone wanted to see Cody win the Royal Rumble, challenge Roman, beat Roman for both belts, and move on. But then there's a big hiccup of like, okay, well, about The Rock, though? So now does Roman work 2 nights? Does Rock face Cody one night, face The Rock on another night? Which, I don't know. A lot of people were breaking that down. And I think at first a lot of people thought, oh, that's a great idea. Have Cody night 1, Rock night 2, Roman works 2 nights. And then the more I thought about it, I don't like that because the build for Rock versus Roman is going to overshadow Cody's moment.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing I was kind of like, even though if Cody wins, the fact that The Rock and Roman, so it'd be weird for Roman to have to do 2 different storylines, 2 different builds for WrestleMania. Like, one week he's focused on The Rock, the another week he's got to build up against Cody. So it's a little convoluted in that sense. So while I think initially a lot of people want Cody and Rock, each night versus Roman, I think unfortunately The Rock is, since he's the bigger star, is going to overshadow Cody's moment, and I don't want that to happen to Cody. Right. So it does make sense that they're going to try to get the titles off Roman at some point. So I mean, for me, I wish no matter what, it's Cody for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. That's the moment, the feel-good moment we all want to see, the Hollywood moment since it's in LA. But let me ask you this, so Seth Rollins, I mean, I guess technically it'll be the 4th match, but on Monday Night Raw tonight, while it's a best of show, there was a clip of Cody, right? You saw. I didn't get to see it. What happened there?
Cody basically, he went on there and he talked about, his year or portion of the year since he came back, which really, really sucks. Now I'm thinking about it, that he didn't get to finish out the whole entire year strong like that. It got cut short. But he basically said that his plans for 2023 involves, while he didn't say it, he said, you all know what I mean. Basically saying he's back for one thing and one thing only, and that's the WWE Championship. And he said that he mentioned Seth Rollins, and he basically said, look, Seth, it seems like he might be interested in a match, with me, but he said I'm not interested in that.
Okay. So more or less, he's saying on Raw that he's done with Seth. He has no interest on a part 4.
Yeah.
But then again, you and I were talking off the air. That could be just another swerve just to kind of throw attention off that, because it looks like that might be the happening now for WrestleMania. And
it could. I can't imagine them swing. What they got Seth Rollins doing with Theory is, working as babyface for Seth, right? I can't see them just throwing a spin on that and making Seth turn back into this evil heel who is frustrated or bothered by Cody Rhodes' existence in WWE. So I don't know. It very much so could be a swerve, but it could also be Cody's way of being like, all right, guys, shut up. We're not gonna have another match. Chill out. Or it could be Cody's message to creative, don't do it, guys.
He saw the report this morning.
Fans. Yeah, listen to the fans. They're not interested, neither am I.
Well, it's interesting because with that being said, so it looks like, okay, I think for the most part, fans should be happy knowing that Roman is going to have, just one match. He's not working double night like that earlier report or rumor was. It's either going to be The Rock or Cody Rhodes. So one way or the other, we're going to get one opponent that the fans want to see for Roman. The other part of this equation we haven't talked on yet is Drew McIntyre, which it's interesting that, he could potentially be in the title picture for WWE, which I'm super excited for. As you know, I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan. He's the official 3rd co-host of In The Kliq, by the way. So,
yes. We love you, Drew.
Yeah, we love you, Drew. Which is interesting that Drew's now rumored to be part of this. the whole main event scene now, which is really cool, which I'm excited for because, you know, I've said this many times, Drew McIntyre, while he's a 2-time WWE champion, both title reigns were in the pandemic era, the Performance Center and Thunderdome era of WWE. So he won his title in front of no one. He was champion in front of no one, just in front of TV screens, the WWE Universe staring on. So he never actually had a chance to get a big title win in front of a large crowd. And I've been saying for the longest time, I would love them to do a make good and have Drew win the WWE Championship at some point in the near future, just so he can win it on a big stage and just kind of, it's at least a redo for that moment. He's earned it. He's been such an amazing, superstar for that company and a spokesperson, all the work he does for them, traveling and all the interviews and press he does. So I'm excited. Let's say hypothetically, if it's Cody versus Roman night 2 for the Universal title, Drew versus Seth for the WWE Championship, that could be kind of exciting. Yeah. But you brought up a good point, though. Does Seth go back to being a heel? Because he's kind of in the middle right now. He's a tweener. Like he's still a guy who's like heelish ways, but the crowd loves him and cheers him for everything. So he's definitely kind of in the middle right now. So yeah, what about Drew? Does Drew go full heel in this situation, or does he just maintain his babyface look right now? I know he's been out the last couple of weeks with a busted eardrum, so we kind of don't know which direction he's going, but I think he did a tremendous job with that build for Roman and for Clash at the Castle. His performance there was awesome. He's delivered all throughout the year, and even at War Games, he was a strong showing there. So I'm glad that Triple H has faith in him and use him as a main event player in the new year. So I don't know. What do you think about Drew now involved in this equation?
It's interesting because I feel like it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for Drew. I was just sitting here thinking just now, I was like, okay, if they really did go through with the Drew, Seth, or Drew anyone, right, like challenging for the championship, there's plenty of ways you can do that, right? Like, or in regards to turning him heel, because I do think if he's going to challenge for the championship again, it has to be as a heel, because he pushed so hard as a babyface, was champion as a babyface, and then pushed very hard to become champion again as babyface. Didn't really work, and I think it's perfect to have him, come back, and I would go start targeting guys, go after a Sheamus, right? And that's not going to sit well with the crowd, because it's just like, what are you doing attacking Sheamus, your friend? But then the way Drew can look at it is, this guy was in my spot. What's,
comes back for vengeance.
War games, challenging Roman, stepping in my way. When this was supposed to be about me, I was supposed to take care of Roman and the Bloodline. Really, his beef was with the Bloodline, but no one wants to see that anymore. We want to see Drew move on from the Bloodline. So I think it would really work out a heel Drew McIntyre, just come back and just beat up everybody, right? And I know it's kind of weird because he just had that feud with Karrion Kross too, right? But at this point, I'd be mad. I don't know. Yeah, just okay. But now I'm mad. I go off with an injury. Does anyone really care? No. Is anyone really talking? Yeah. Is anyone really...
He's going to give us a you people.
You people. Does anyone really... See, I'm cutting a promo for you, Drew. Does anyone really care about me? About Drew McIntyre? No,
it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to get there, and all these moving parts are going to set in stone. Ultimately, it just comes down to The Rock. If The Rock can do it, then... but then I feel bad for Drew. Let's say if The Rock does do it, he can do it, then Drew McIntyre is going to be the one that's, kicked to the curb more or less, because Cody will then be bumped over versus Seth. So then Drew... So I feel bad for Drew and Cody, because they're both in limbo right now of what their plans are. Seth looks like he's set in stone, for the WWE Championship. I mean, I kind of wonder, will Seth be going into Mania then as WWE Champion, and then Drew or Cody, whoever the opponent is going for the title? So it's going to be interesting how we're going to get there in the next couple months. How does Seth Rollins become WWE champion?
We'll see. It's all like, oh my gosh, like you got to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
For Drew, though, I feel like if that happens and he's left with nothing, nowhere to go, then he can do, as he said on Raw tonight, he can go after Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. And then he can remain a babyface. And he can take down Gunther for the IC title at WrestleMania. Then now you can spin back and have Sheamus be upset. That was supposed to be my moment. So many things you could do.
Actually, well, you just brought a good point right there. A little segue right there as far as was Gunther's plans for WrestleMania. There's been a lot of rumors there. Which, real quick, before we get to that point, I just want to also say, I know it was a couple weeks ago, there was reports that The Rock may win the Royal Rumble as one way of getting to him involved in WrestleMania. I'm not a fan of that because I think you're just going to have a Batista moment like you did a few years ago when everyone wanted Daniel Bryan to win, but Batista won. The crowd was booing. Luckily, Vince and the powers that be didn't make good. Ultimately had Daniel Bryan get involved, earned his way there by beating Triple H the beginning of WrestleMania 30 and then became a triple threat in the end, and he ultimately did win the title. So, they did do, they corrected themselves there, but I'm afraid that if The Rock was somehow inserted in the Royal Rumble and wins it, I think a lot of people are going to be upset because I think they'd rather have Cody win that. So I think that could be a really bad moment that The Rock might get booed from the fans. So I don't think they want to go down that route, obviously. So with that being said, though, how are they going to get there? How's Seth going to be WWE champion? Who's his opponent going to be? Is The Rock going to be involved? Does Cody go over against Roman? But Roman versus Cody for the Universal title, I'm not a big fan of. So a lot of questions here. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, going back to Gunther and his plans for WrestleMania, there was a report within the last week or two that looks like Brock Lesnar is the tentative opponent for him. So what do you think about Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania?
That would be interesting. I know a lot of fans want to see it. A lot of people want to see it. I guess for me, what would be the motivation, or why would Brock Lesnar want to fight Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, especially on a stage like that? Why would he want anything less than the WWE or the Universal Championship, right? Especially now, right?
Yeah.
He's done it all. Like he's at such a high status. I know that we've seen Brock Lesnar and Roman a ton of times, and people want them to stay away from each other. But I don't think that should stop Brock Lesnar from wanting to challenge Roman Reigns for the championship, right? So, like, I don't know how they would get. Hey, here we are. I don't know how they would get there.
Well,
it'd
actually,
be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm with you as far as Gunther going IC title. Oh, excuse me, Brock Lesnar going after the IC title. Actually, for all the Kliqsters out there, if you can, please subscribe to the Fight Game Media podcast, where we get your podcast at. This past weekend, I was on the Take It Home podcast with our buddy John LaRocca. The episode was about just evaluating hits or misses for the WWE rehires under the Triple H regime. And we talked about Imperium coming back to, or being debuted on the main roster. And we talked about the rumor plans of Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. And what I pretty much said was, I like the idea. I think it'll be awesome. See two big hosses beating the crap out of each other. I'm all for it. My only concern is, the booking of the match, how it's going to play out. Because like you just said, Gunther right now is the IC champion. So if he's champion at WrestleMania versus Brock Lesnar, like, don't get me wrong, if Gunther beats Brock Lesnar, I think that's awesome. And that would make Gunther a main event player for sure in WWE's eyes. And, could be the next guy to go after the world title in 2023 at some point. But my only concern is, since Brock Lesnar's already eaten quite a few losses in 2022 against Roman, I'm just curious if Brock will be the type of guy to say, hey, I put over Roman many times last year. I'm due for a win now on the big stage. You owe it to me. So I'm worried that Brock versus Gunther, while it's going to be a fun match to watch, I think ultimately Brock is going to win. With that being said, though, is Gunther still IC champion at that point? And if he beats Brock, does he... does Brock become IC champion? I mean, I just feel like, that's so below him. He doesn't need the IC title at this point in his career, unless they're trying to just make him like a Grand Slam champion, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, and then you'd have to worry about the IC championship being held up again.
Yes.
Because Brock's not going to be the workhorse on, Raw or SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship. And, with the new regime, they've obviously... made an impression on us and told us, that there's some importance now back in the Intercontinental and the United States Championships. And so, I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than Brock Lesnar becoming Intercontinental Champion, right? But like I said earlier, I feel like Brock Lesnar doesn't need, if he wants a championship match against anybody, I'm sure he would pick Brock Lesnar. I mean, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He's not, he's Brock Lesnar, I don't know. I just feel like, or maybe they can do a match with no championship on the line, but then you'd have to have a really good reason. Have a really good reason why.
Yeah, so that's my only concern is, okay, if we do get Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, is it for the IC title? Does Gunther just beat Brock Lesnar? Does Brock beat Gunther and become new IC champion? Or does Gunther drop the title beforehand? But I feel that would kind of bring down Gunther's value a bit.
I think it would stop his momentum a little bit too.
That's the thing.
Especially going into a match at WrestleMania.
Against Brock Lesnar, you want him undefeated, so it feels more important, like a bigger deal. Yeah, if Gunther drops the title beforehand, then he doesn't feel as special. He already has a loss on his record on the main roster. So how they're going to get there is going to be interesting.
Okay, well, see, now that I think about it, now that you said that, maybe the chase or maybe the challenge of taking somebody like Gunther out for Brock Lesnar is something that he'd be willing to chase. This time around, this
for
year,
Brock Lesnar.
I'm sorry. For Brock Lesnar, maybe that'd be something that he'd want to. You know what?
Okay.
This is the baddest dude in the company right now. He's the Intercontinental. He's the neck. He's the next up. Mm-hmm. All right. Let me see if I can knock him down a notch.
So no, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with WrestleMania. There's a lot of other plans, in place. The other thing
I'm sorry. I was gonna say WrestleMania is so unpredictable,
which is good.
It's very I feel like everyone's fantasy booking right now. That hasn't happened in a while. By this time, everyone pretty much knows at least what's going to happen.
Rumble.
Even the Rumble, around this time, people already knew who was going to win the Rumble, right? Mm-hmm. Who number 30 was going to be, who's favorite,
yeah.
So it's just fun to again be like, I don't know who's going to win the Rumble. I don't know who's going to be champion after WrestleMania. I don't know who's going to be the main event of night 1 or night 2. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. So with that being said, it is exciting to see how we're going to get there. A lot of things up in the air. The other thing too, I forgot to mention earlier, the main event scene with Roman, no Sami Zayn. I think a lot of people were kind of maybe hoping there might be a slight chance Sami Zayn could be going up against Roman for the title at WrestleMania. That doesn't look like that's going to be the plan at all. So my guess, it's going to be probably what everyone mostly thought it's going to happen. It's going to be Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Usos, which is totally fine. I'm all for that. So we shall wait and see. All right, another big piece of news that came out last week was the Wall Street Journal reported that Vince McMahon is actually making arrangements to return to WWE, which it was already a shocker back in July when he stepped down amidst all the allegations against him, sexual what's the term, the sex scandal around him and all that stuff, sexual misconduct by Vince McMahon. But so the Wall Street Journal reported that he is trying to make a comeback. Vince McMahon believes he followed misguided advice and should not have stepped down, and that the public blowback would have already subsided had he remained as CEO. This is all according to the Wall Street Journal. That was not the only McMahon-related news of the week. In the same story, the Wall Street Journal reported that McMahon is facing a new sexual assault case and has been contacted by a lawyer representing Rita Shatterton. I think that's her name, how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
She is the former WWE referee who said back in 1992 in a televised interview that Vince McMahon had raped her back in the limousine, and she's seeking $11.75 million in damages. So that was back in the 80s when that happened. And so, man, Brian, I'll throw it back at you, man. Your thoughts on Vince McMahon trying to make a comeback in WWE?
It's scary. Yeah. It's scary because, man, what a that would be. We might see the end of WWE at that point. I mean, like at least from a, I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would become. It's scary because they're doing so well right now. They've gotten fans back involved. We've got that feeling back that we all missed. It's not all the way there, but this has been a really, really great, end of the year for WWE. They struggle around this time of the year so much, right? With surprises so then when this news came out, I'm like, oh no. There's no way. There's no way he's gonna come back because he's in my head. I'm thinking he wants to do WrestleMania. Of course, he wants to come back. He doesn't. No one touches WrestleMania. No one, right? Like this will be his first WrestleMania that he doesn't have no involvement with whatsoever. Yeah. So I'm like, oh no, like this is bad. Like. I just hoped. I mean, look, man. I hope Vince is okay. I'd hope all this stuff gets sorted out. Like the man is old. He's done it all. And I think he's done enough. Let it go. I'm enjoying it. Everyone's enjoying it. Ratings are great. Excitement, fan
graces of the fans are back. Yeah.
We got to work on the live crowd a little bit for Monday nights, but but it's man, what a bummer that would be.
I'll say this. First off, I kind of think this is an example of Vince, who for the last 40-something years, this is all he knows is being a wrestling promoter, or sports entertainment promoter and owner of WWE. That's all he knows. He tried doing the XFL, he tried doing a few other things, didn't work out. His bread and butter, his success is in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Now that all of a sudden taken away from him at 77 years old, I feel like he doesn't know what to do with himself. He has all this free time out of nowhere. I'm sure he's probably bouncing off walls, pulling his hair out of his head. He probably doesn't know what to do with himself. He's like, what do I do? He's probably regretting, stepping down, which we all know was the right decision considering all these allegations against him. And with that being said, I think that would be a terrible decision if he came back to WWE. Granted, hey, we're all fans of Vince McMahon, the wrestling promoter. He brought so many years of entertainment for us as fans all these years. But with that being said, look at the bigger picture here. All the stuff that's accused of him, you can't have that back in the company. That's not a good look for WWE as a company, the shareholders, the staff, everything, morale. If he came back, that would not be good for the company, So I think, and I know there are reports that a lot of people think he's not going to be able to actually come back. Now, granted, I think he's 51% owner, right? I mean, as far as what he owns, share wise. And I think he has 80% voting power of the board for the company, if I remember correctly. You know, this is all, I'm just guessing off the top of my head from what I've heard from other reports. Yeah. So it's a situation, hypothetically, he can do it. And he can do it by eliminating the current board of directors and hiring an all new staff of board of directors that will vote him back in. He can do that legally with his power that he has. Yeah. Like, he's still technically, owner of the company, or no, with his shares and stuff. You know, he still technically owns. Yeah,
he's the majority shareholder.
Yeah. But with that being said, that would be a PR nightmare if he did that. You know how, like, the current board of directors would be so pissed off to get suddenly just fired, kicked to the side. I'm sure there'll be like lawsuits and people would be complaining and it could turn into like a really bad legal battle if he did that. It would just be bad news. And then, yeah, from a morale standpoint, everyone's feels much better without him there anymore. You know, if he came back, I think everyone would just feel bad again. So it's not a good move. And then I'm sure, you know, hey, let's look at the big picture. Like, sponsors might not like that. And, you know, if he's back in power, a lot of sponsors might not want to be associated with him anymore and pull out. So it can cost the company a lot of money. Even stock went down last week with the news of him trying to come back. So imagine if he came back into power, the stocks could really drop. You know, the board of directors could be like, whoa, you're costing us a lot of money. This is not right. We're all about making money here. You know, if you came back and you cost us that much money, you know, it's not going to happen. So while there's a slight chance based on his power of shareholder, I don't think it's going to happen because it would just cost the company too much money and be a PR nightmare. And I know there's upper management powers that be say that it's not most likely going to happen. But anyway, it would not look good if he came back. So no, especially like you said, WWE's in a good motion right now. Some, you know, better booking decisions, just storylines are better. You know, they're earning back the good graces of the WWE universe, and you know, it would be a bad time if he came back. So, you know, yeah, it's for the best that he does not come back. So,
absolutely, man.
Speaking of people leaving the company, Sasha Banks, the latest Sasha Banks has been talked about for the last couple weeks. So it's reports are coming out that, you know, Sasha Banks is signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling. She's going to make her debut, looks like, at Wrestle Kingdom. The reports were like last week that she's already in Japan, which is interesting. You know, she celebrated Christmas in Japan, but it looks like she's going to make an appearance at Wrestle Kingdom next week. I think is probably confront the winner of the Kairi Sane. Who's Kairi Sane's opponent? It is, let's see, Wrestle Kingdom 17. Kairi Sane versus Tam Nanako. Am I pronouncing that right? I think I'm pronouncing it. So they're going to be facing each other for the IWGP Women's Championship. So I think a lot of people are predicting that whoever wins that, Sasha Banks is going to confront them, and then it's going to set up a match for later in the month.
Tam Nakano.
Was it?
Tam Nakano.
Tam Nakano. So, Brian, first things first, we'll talk about, you know, what WWE's perception is of Sasha Banks right now. But first, your thoughts on, just Sasha Banks signing with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
You know, I'm not surprised. I guess I'm just a little shocked, Huey. You know, like I am. I'm a little shocked because it just makes me feel like, dang, like she really wanted to get out of there. She really wanted to leave, and you know, she wants to go travel the world and wrestle in Japan and have these, you know, great dream matches that, you know, everyone online talks about. It's bittersweet. You know, I've said things about Sasha, you know, before, and then, you know, because, you know, I'm a Charlotte guy, you know what I mean? but no, like, you know, all jokes aside, this is going to be one of those moments, right, where all eyes are on her, and she doesn't have to worry about a Charlotte and politics and, you know, 4 horsewomen and, or anything like that. And it's another way for her to also go and prove herself. A lot of people look at what she's done in WWE and go, oh, she's one of the best or one of the greatest ever. She's quickly been overshadowed. And I say that respectfully. She's quickly been overshadowed and overlooked and surpassed in most people's minds by Bianca Belair. A lot of people don't. There's some people who disagree, people who agree, but if you just look at what WWE has looked like over the last few years, it's all Bianca. Even Sasha's last time in the company has all been about the rise of Bianca Belair. Yeah. Even when Becky came back and beat Bianca when it should have been Sasha in that moment, right? It still all ended up, everyone was wondering, where's Sasha? It still ended up being everyone being mad about Bianca, right? So not to be long-winded with it, it's bittersweet because I wanted to see her at the top in WWE, and I did want more from her. I did expect more from her. I felt like, I don't know, it's weird. I felt like she's stone coldest.
Yeah, well, no, a couple things. So yeah, you're right. Like as far as I thought she was going to be a WWE lifer. As far as working at the company.
Go. That's the perfect way to say it. That's basically in a nutshell what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be with WWE for her entire career, but I think there's a situation where she's betting on herself. And so there's been multiple things coming out since it was rumored that she's going to be appearing with New Japan Pro Wrestling 1. Apparently, as Dave Meltzer reported, that the reasoning WWE and her can come to new terms is because over issues on pay. Banks, who, she has main evented WrestleMania before, she wanted to be paid the same as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. But apparently, WWE did not want to pay her that amount. What they offered her was way below that. And so that's why she's like, all right, I'm going to leave then. I'm not going to sign that. The other part of it is that, there's been reports that Triple H and his team think that Sasha Banks is past her peak and not on the same level as the other top female stars like a Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. That's a whole nother debate. I think that's very subjective. You can make the argument, she is or she is not. So, with that being said, let's break this down as far as, for me, I'm all about WWE superstars getting paid. I'm all for the talent getting paid, what they feel they're worth. They deserve it. They put their bodies on the line. So I'm glad to see Sasha Banks, stand up for herself and demand more money. And she kind of warned people, on Stone Cold's podcast last year. She said, for the longest time, herself and a lot of people, just sign whatever's given to them because they're just happy to be there. They just want to, have a job in WWE. That's the biggest honor of their career or the highest point in their career. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to be there and just happy to be there. But she's at the point now where, she knows she's a star and deserves more money. And has star power and deserves to be paid more. And she told Stone Cold she has no problem asking instead of eating just I'm paraphrasing her, eat hot dogs, she'd rather eat steak and lobster with Vince McMahon. So she feels she deserves that. So she kind of put it out there a while ago. That's her mindset moving forward, that she thinks she's a star and deserves to be treated like one, which I respect that. You go be you, and you feel like you deserve that. Go for it. You're only young once in your prime to get those, get that big money. So now let me ask you: do you think she deserves to be paid the same as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair?
Yeah, I think that's crazy, and I really hope that was a old regime thing and not a new regime thing. And maybe now with the new regime, it was just far too late and just like, nah, I'm not interested anymore. Because I think that's wild. She's definitely earned it too. I mean, she helped usher in a whole new era, for the, women wrestlers in WWE. The current now era, like, I mean, I think about that night, WrestleMania 32, you know, for when they changed the Divas Championship to the Women's Championship, you know, and her being a part of that with the Queen City, Charlotte Flair, you know. No, but all jokes aside, Sasha Banks has done a lot for WWE. She's taken the pin, you know, like quite a few times, and I feel her. Yeah, I've watched that clip a few times of her on Stone Cold's podcast where she's, you know, and it's like it's almost chilling because it's like, oh man, she told us. She told Stone Cold right to his face. Yeah, she told him right, and even Stone Cold, the look on his face when she told him that was like, oof. You know, it was almost like, wow, like, uh-oh. I know what that means.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It's for me, like you said. I now as far as mainstream popularity, you can make the argument: is she as popular as Becky Lynch? I mean, you could say Becky Lynch is probably the most popular WWE female superstar, if not just WWE superstar in general, with her star power. Same for Charlotte Flair. I mean, Sasha Banks, you know, has been making a name for herself outside of WWE, you know, appearing on Mandalorian with Disney Plus. You know, that's a Star Wars property. She's been doing other things, modeling and stuff. So she's, you know, up there as far as name recognition. I think for her, like, she's not asking for more money compared to them, but she's just asking, you know, somewhere near them, which I do respect. As far as her being past her peak, that's what the reports are.
Oh, boy.
I find that so laughable because one, she's only 30 years old. She is younger than all the other big name stars in the women's division. So she is younger than them. So she has a lot more years ahead of her to wrestle. I kind of wonder, that's just a little bit of a petty remark, as a way to kind of bring her value down a little bit. I kind of wonder for WWE or the creative team, I worry though if she came back, and maybe Sasha Banks doesn't want to come back because she kind of knows her role with the company is not going to change. Because hypothetically, let's just think about this real quick. If she did come back, I really do think that match Ronda had at, you know, Survivor Series in Boston, I bet you that was reserved for Sasha Banks. But when she wasn't going to come back, then they had to quickly scramble and threw someone else in there, and they threw Shotzi in that match.
Shotzi,
yeah. I really do think if Sasha and them could have came on a new deal, I bet she would have came back and wrestled in her hometown of Boston. I really think that's what's going to happen. I think for WWE and maybe Sasha, she probably realized, you know, listen, what's going to happen? I know this is predictable. I'm going to come back to a big pop, big surprise. People miss me. Yay. Going to be the talk of the town, the buzz. They're going to probably inject me right away into a main event picture fight against Ronda Rousey. Probably going to lose. And then she's going to fall back down to the mid-card scene again. And they're going to keep Ronda, Becky, Charlotte whenever she comes back, Bianca, other people ahead of her. So maybe for Sasha, this situation where she kind of knew, she knows their formula. She knows someone makes a big return, they get back, they get into the main event picture scene for one program, and then they fall back down to the mid-card level. So maybe she's felt like, you know, I don't want to go through that again. I'd rather go out and prove myself. And it looks like she is by going out to New Japan Pro Wrestling. She's going to get some buzz. I kind of see like Cody Rhodes and some other people who leave WWE go make a name for themselves elsewhere. And it looks like, you know, the reports are she's going to make like over $100,000 per appearance for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So they're backing up the Banks truck for her, no pun intended.
Wow.
So good on her. She's going to be making money on these appearances outside WWE. I'm sure she's going to, you know, prove herself and prove that she's a star, and maybe hopefully WWE will come crawling back to her and want her to come back. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think ultimately that's kind of what would have happened with Sasha Banks if she would have came back to WWE right away?
Yeah, you know, and as you were saying that, I was thinking, you know, maybe Sasha even just thinks, maybe during negotiations, if there was any or whatever, maybe the way she sees it is like, you know what? Okay, there is a new regime. Triple H is there. He's in charge. But you know what? All these women are coming back. all these women who missed out on an opportunity. And maybe Sasha just feels like, look, that's good. I'm happy for them, but I'm not gonna put anybody else over respectfully. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna continue to do that. Because if you had to pick and choose someone, right? Like, why does it always have to be Sasha? How come sometimes it can't be Becky? How come sometimes it can't be Charlotte? You know, or even now, it's kind of weird if you think about it. Now it seems like Bayley's kind of been put into that situation. Like, she's probably like she's in that spot, and I don't want to say it like it's a bad thing. Like we all know that Bayley loves to do what's best for the women's division. She thinks about others probably more than she thinks about herself and her wants, needs, and accomplishments. Right? She's done a lot, up to this point. So her goal really is probably just getting more eyes on the women's division, getting more girls a chance. But like you said, someone like Sasha, who is only 30 years old and has a whole lot to give and offer to professional wrestling, and wants to fresh opponents, right? Doesn't want to wrestle the same, girls every week, Yeah. And when you can kind of float and don't really have to stay somewhere exclusive for the first time in I don't know how long in her career, right? You don't want to pass up on an opportunity like that, and you're getting paid.
Yeah,
and you get to own your name.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Like I said, I don't like that quote that she's past her peak. I think that's far from the truth. I think it's a situation where it's more that they realize there's just no spot for her in the main event picture right now. They got so many other bodies up there kind of dominating. If she did come back, sure, she might make a splash, but then ultimately she would fall back down, like I said, to the mid-card scene. So they're probably like, you know what, there's just not a place for her right now creatively, which sucks because I think, you got Sasha Banks that you could do a lot with her. The fans love her. So I don't know. Like I said, I hope she goes out there and just an amazing job, puts on some amazing matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling and also Stardom, and just create such a buzz for herself that, maybe at some point 2023 she'll come back at some point.
You know what, Huey? I think one thing that she needed, especially even in WWE, I've always said this. I think she needed like a whole character change, a shift. Something new, something different. So maybe that's what we'll get with Sasha, and this new, this new era of Sasha Mercedes. Right?
Yeah, she copyrighted some new names, a new looked like a finishing mover name. So it looked like she definitely set the pieces up for life after WWE. So it's going to be interesting to see what she does next. So like I said, I hope she goes out there and crushes it. I do wish, they would pay her. She deserves it. But I think, like I said, and something else, and this is something you and I talked about in text a while ago was, maybe the other reason why WWE was hesitant to pay her, she has walked away from the company twice. I'm glad thank you for reminding me. I was thinking about that just a minute ago. I think that's another thing that really might, if you think about it, that it's just like any sport, right? Like, if someone's on the shelf or if someone is unavailable, maybe you don't want to, maybe we don't want to give this big contract because again, no shade to Sasha, but Charlotte delivers, Becky delivers, Bayley before she got hurt was delivering on a whole new level, right? A lot of people give Sasha credit for the pandemic and holding it up and putting it on her back, but Bayley was right beside her, and she was just on another level. And while Charlie's waking up in the background, he also thinks that you don't want to give someone a whole bunch of money when they're unreliable and in many different ways, right? Because it's not just her being hurt, but like you said, her walking out, or we still don't know what happened. So at SummerSlam, that whole gig, and just the how quiet everybody and everything was in regards to that, and then even the most recent one, walking out, which is completely understandable, right? But from a business standpoint, as a company, it's just like you can't expect a company to want to give you more money when you just
walk out and throw the titles and just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like for WWE, I'm just trying to look at it from both sides here. For WWE, they could have been like, you know what? Hey, listen, you know, she's walked out on us twice. She walked away, you know, before SummerSlam, and Becky came in the pinch and came back early to face Bianca Belair. And then also this year walked out with Naomi with the, you know, threw down the women's tag titles. So for them, they're like, I don't know if we want to invest that much money into her if she, you know, has the track record of walking out on us. So I can see it from WWE standpoints, like, you know, okay, our main event scene right now is really filled right now. It's saturated with a lot of talent. Plus, she has a track record of leaving. I don't know if we want to invest that amount of money into her. So I can see from WWE standpoint.
And we have all this talent that we're investing in over in Orlando.
Yep.
Who, and again, I'm not to say that any of them are even on Sasha's level, but I mean, the show must go on, right?
They are a machine that just keeps going.
Yeah, they're gonna keep going, and if they've gotta make a decision on whether they want to pay someone a lot of money who isn't gonna be there or doesn't want to be there, there's a ton of them ready to go.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I'm with you. Like I said, you and I, just to clarify, you and I are big Sasha Banks fans. We want to see what's best for her.
I troll Sasha, but I enjoy Sasha.
No, but yeah, you and I, we want to see her make as much money as she can. We would love to see her wrestle. We want to keep seeing her wrestle. But just for the sake of discussion here, you know, we're looking at it from both sides. You know, I can see from Sasha Banks why she feels like she deserves all that money because of everything she represents star power wise. But at the same time, we can see from why WWE doesn't want, you know, WWE doesn't want to invest in her because they're worried that they have concerns as well. So we see it from both sides here. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what happens next. I hope Sasha goes out there, like I said, does an amazing job, performs, does amazing matches in Japan and all that stuff. I'm excited to see what she can do, and I hope she proves them wrong. And then they do bring her back at some point. I do think she will come back at some point, but I think she's going to go on this little bit of a journey, exploring herself and proving to everyone that she's a star. And, you know,
it's about to have her Chris Jericho moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Her Chris Jericho moment, her Cody Rhodes moment, just going out, prove themselves elsewhere and then come back and make a big splash. So it's going to be
and because we know, I'm sorry, one more thing. We know that WWE is all about, you know, reinventing yourself. If you have that ability to go with the flow, change, you know, and like I said, that's one thing that Sasha has not done since being in WWE. She's been the same ever since. The boss, you know, the blueprint. It's boss time. So I'm excited to see this new side. What is it? You know, what is this new side going to look like? What's it going to feel like, sound like, look, everything?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm excited to see what Sasha Banks can bring to the table elsewhere for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It'll just give people buzzy and talking about it like us. So it's it's really exciting, and I wish her nothing but the best. And we'll see what happens. Last bit of clickbait news. I know, sorry, Brian, we've been running long.
No worries. No worries.
Okay. Let's talk about Mandy Rose real quick, and then we'll go through some of the highlights from Raw and SmackDown recently, and then we'll call it an episode. Mandy Rose, obviously big shocker. What was it, last week? So the Tuesday after NXT Deadline, on that week's episode of NXT, Roxanne Perez out of nowhere challenged Mandy Rose for a match after getting beat up by Toxic Attraction. Mandy Rose and Roxanne have a main event match, and Roxanne defeats Mandy Rose, becomes the new NXT Women's Champion, ending her 400-something day in NXT as Women's Champion. A lot of people were shocked by that. I think we all thought it was going to happen at New Year's Eve, I think the match was. The next day, the Wednesday after NXT, Mandy Rose was released from WWE. And this all comes down because of content that she's been posting on her fan time account, and WWE was not happy about it. So Brian, I'll turn to you, man. Just kind of your thoughts on Mandy Rose being let go from WWE.
I was shocked.
Yeah,
because she's had such an incredible run.
Yeah.
like, I mean, Huey, we were there, stand and deliver. Mm-hmm. Everybody was there for Mandy Rose. Mm-hmm. Like, she's the biggest. I mean, outside of Braun Breaker. I mean, probably even bigger than Braun Breaker, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest thing, the most over popular person in NXT, and just when. And I'm seeing all these different reports, right? Like, she's getting called up soon. Her and Toxic Attraction are rumored for the Royal Rumble. I'm like, cool. She's going to drop the title at New Year's Evil to Roxanne Perez. And she's going to go back up to the, main roster and have the career that she wanted, right? Like she worked really hard to get to this point. And so then the news breaks that she got released, and I'm like, what? Why? What happened? And I wasn't paying attention to what was going on the internet. I know that there was rumors going around that pictures and her pictures got leaked, and I'm like, what? So I go back and I'm like, oh no, whoa, right? I'm like, yeah. So this happened. Or this has been happening for some time, apparently.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away. Like, all that investment, right? All that time, all those people she beat.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. Like, it was such a shocker that she got released the next day after she dropped the title to Roxanne Perez. But now more information's come out as to why. So, apparently, Mandy Rose was posting a lot of racy photos on her fan time page, which for anyone who doesn't know, fan times, it's almost like an OnlyFans where you have an account and you have a paywall and people pay a monthly service or a monthly fee to access exclusive content there. And the photos and videos she were posting were very racy, R-rated, X-rated type stuff. Yeah. And WWE did not like that and decided to release her. Now, there's a lot to unpack here as far as one, what the communication between WWE and her were, as far as did they give her a warning? Did they know about it? Did she knew about it? Was pushing the limits? There's a lot to break down here because she did say, or I think it was Brian Alvarez said that she was caught off guard by this decision, but at the same time, it sounds like WWE knew that she was doing this, but she seemed to kind of push the boundaries as much as she could. So I think the first question here, which we don't have an exact answer, was is this the first time WWE punished her for it? And unfortunately that punishment is just firing her, or did they warn her in the past and she just kept pushing her luck? See, that's the big question here, because if they knew that she was doing this for a while and they maybe warned her and she just kept pushing her pressing her luck on it, then that's kind of her own fault then. You know what I mean? But if this was just the first time they addressed it with her, and that first time addressing her was just a fire, that sucks too for Mandy. That's a little unfortunate. I think WWE should have at least warn her, ask her to pull it back, and then give her a warning, and then just slap on the wrist, and then go on from there. So that's the first issue here. We don't know what happened, how long it's been going on for. Now, the one report was Matt Bloom down at NXT saw what she was posting, showed it to Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels' immediate reaction was, we gotta get the title off her. And then sure enough, they took the title off her the next day off on NXT.
It's Albert's fault.
Yeah, no, it's Tenzai. It's all his fault. That snitch.
So, it's crazy, man. It's bittersweet because, it's a mystery, right? I mean, it's almost clear. I mean, it's clear that she, chose the money, right?
But it was a lot of money. It seems. So was it last week? Her agent said that in the week following her release from WWE, she made $500,000 that week alone. She was charging $40 a membership. Yep. And so there's a lot of WWE fans, I guess, that want to follow her. I didn't know this thing even existed until a couple weeks ago. So she was kind of doing this on the down low. So yeah,
I didn't know that WWE superstars actually have stuff like this on the side, and there's fans holding out. Like, why did it take this long for anybody?
Yeah, you're right. That's the thing. So, like I said earlier, was we don't know if, like I said, WWE knew the whole time and they kept warning her, like, hey, be careful what you post. We'll allow it, but you gotta be careful. Or was this the first time they addressed it, and then the first time they do, they just fire her, which sucks. Like, I think they deserve a warning at least. But so the other thing too is she knew she was pressing her luck, because it's been well documented that people would take screenshots or video record her content behind the paywall and then post it on Reddit or on Twitter, and she would quickly comment like, hey, can you please take this down? I don't want WWE to see this. So she knew what she was doing, or she knew what she was doing behind that paywall was not necessarily what WWE standards are. So at the same time, she was playing with fire, and she finally got burnt here. So my other thing too is, listen, I know when she got fired, a lot of people were trying to hate on WWE, use this as another excuse to hate on WWE. This is like you and I were talking about this last week. This is not a black and white situation, like a clear, WWE is bad, evil, Mandy's the victim here. No, not necessarily. There's a lot of gray area here, because there's no clear winners and losers here. It's a really gray area here in this situation. As far as, keep in mind, I think a lot of people are like, they're independent contractors. Let them make money on the side doing other projects. They deserve it. It shows, that they're independent contractors. Let them do what they want. No, they got certain standards they got to live by. And what I mean by that is, listen, I'm all for these superstars making as much money as they can, doing what they want. However, when you're an independent contractor, I think it's great where you have like multiple irons out in different fires, and you're making money from all these different projects that you're involved with, or different career paths that you have. However, with that being said, if one job doesn't like another job that you're doing, you got to deal with those repercussions.
Yep.
And this is a situation where WWE was, for all we know, we're cool what she was doing on the side, but then they realized she kind of overstepped her boundaries, and that's when they got to step in and be like, okay, you're kind of, now this is not the image we want. These are not the standards we have in our contract. You're kind of breaking, the rules here, and we can't have that. We got to let you go. The other big thing too is a lot of people are saying this probably has to do with WWE's relationship with Mattel, who are the biggest toy company in the world. They have a huge action figure deal with them, toy deal with them. They make toys for kids, and they sure, WWE's probably concerned. They don't want Mattel to get mad, be like, okay, one of your champions here is putting like nudie photos online. We don't want that representation with our toys. Right. So, hey, money talks. It's a business. So, like I said, I'm all for independent contractors doing what they want, making money what they want. However, like I said, when you have multiple fires going, and if one job doesn't like what the other job's doing, you got to deal with that. That just comes with that comes with the nature of it all.
And listen, a lot of people were upset with WWE, like you said, but guys, she chose her fate. Like this. Not to say that I don't want to make it seem like she didn't want to be in part of WWE anymore, but let's face it, she knew what she knew what she was doing. She knew the consequences of it. She knew that, and especially like with everything that had gone on with as many people that got released for the things that they did or didn't do, right? She knew what the consequences were, and she's perfectly fine with it. She doubled down even and told her fans on the fan time that she's okay, and she, thank you for the wishes and stuff, and the page isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like I said, is listen, I don't fault her for choosing to stay with Fan Times. Like I said, she's making main event or main roster money without taking a bump. I mean, she's making more money off this fan page than she is with her WWE contract. So I understand why, she's not going to give that up and take the less paying job. I totally get that. And she deserves, she has every right to keep doing this and making that big money. But there are repercussions to that, and she has to live with it. And like I said, this is not a clear WWE's the big evil corporation, and this is a victim here. Like I said, there's a lot of gray area. It's not a clear cut, good versus evil here in this situation. WWE has their policies and their business that they gotta upheld to, and the standards that they want to maintain with their business partners and their sponsors. Right. Mandy, hey, listen, more power to her for believing in herself and sticking up for herself and sticking with the job that's paying her more money. But with that being said, you gotta unfortunately deal with the repercussions here. So I know she's getting more money paying that than she was in WWE. However, my concern is, this initial buzz, oh my gosh, she got fired, everyone's going to support and pay for her. But over time, if she's not on TV regularly anymore, because that's the thing with WWE, you get a lot of exposure by working with them, TV and social media exposure. So that helps promote your brand. If she's not on TV anymore, I wonder if her value as a public figure will go down. You know what I mean? So I'm curious where she'll be in 6 months. Like, if she's off TV for 6 months, will as many people care about her as a public figure anymore? She'll just become old news. Therefore, will she start losing subscribers and her money go down? So with that being said, I hope she's saving all her money and just get as much as she can, save it. But I would not be surprised if she returns to WWE at some point in the near future. I'm sure they understand, they probably understand, all right, do what you got to do. Maybe in the near future, we can re-explore this and bring you back at some point. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that happens.
I would hope so, because I would feel like that she went to NXT and did all of that for nothing. I feel like she got so much better in the ring, and she did it. Like, dude, she's been, she's OG, tough enough and everything. So I just felt like, man, okay, she finally did it. It's hard to overcome Charlotte, Becky, Sasha,
Bayley,
and who? Bayley. Yes, it is hard. It's been hard for a lot of women to come out of, and to just surpass that. I mean, every WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Money in the Banks. Even it's hard to surpass Alexa, it's hard and Mandy was on her way. I felt like she was really on her way.
I was hopeful that Toxic Attraction would be on the main roster by springtime and doing that kind of dominance there. And that's the thing, while Mandy is, gone from WWE, but she's making a lot of money. I think her agent said she would be a millionaire by the end of the year or something. But I do worry, will that money go away fast once she's off TV for a significant amount of time? But, at the same time, I do feel bad for the rest of Toxic Attraction. Gigi Dolan and, oh my God, who's the other member of Toxic Attraction?
JC Jane.
I feel bad for them. They're still in WWE and they lost their leader. So now I guess they're still a tag team and still can call themselves Toxic Attraction, but I feel bad for them. They're the ones who kind of lose in this situation. While Mandy's making a bunch of money, they're stuck in WWE and they lost their leader and they lost kind of like the main vocal point of their whole faction there. So they got to pick up the pieces. That sucks for them.
We'll see, and a lot of people were upset with WWE, saying, "Oh, we feel bad for that. Sucks for Toxic Attraction," but really, it's just like, guys, I can almost guarantee you, 99.9% WWE did not want to fire Mandy Rose. Yeah. She's red hot for that brand.
Yeah,
red hot for that. I mean, like you said, Toxic Attraction was everything for NXT. You know, the whole rebrand 2.0, that probably kept people watching, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they were everything. So I feel like, but at the same time, it's just like Mandy's got to think about, you got to think about the girls, man, too, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're out here doing these things that you know that you probably shouldn't be doing. You know, that to me shows that you're not really thinking about, you know, your other group members also.
Yeah. No, it's it's a double-edged sword here. So
yes,
I know a lot of people were also complaining, there's been people who violated the wellness policy multiple times and they still keep their job, but Mandy's post some nudie photos and still lose her job. Well, we don't know all the details here, and that's two different situations. This is like photos versus someone's health with drugs and alcohol, which, that being said, could be the segue real quick. I do want to touch on a couple weeks ago we saw Riddle get written off TV. He was attacked by the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa used the Umaga thumb spike to the throat. He was taken out on a stretcher, and he says he's going to be gone for 6 weeks. But now it's being reported from bodyslam.net that he's been taken off TV because he's actually entering rehab. And so, because he failed his second drug test, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, Brian, your thoughts on Riddle allegedly going into rehab?
Well, good on him for accepting it if that is the case.
Yeah.
Because accepting help, that's always a good thing. It's one of those bittersweet moments. It's like, man, he was so on such a high with Randy, and everything was going good, and as soon as Randy goes away, it seemed like everything kind of crumbled. I know it's a divorce and things of that nature he's got going on in his personal life. I would hate for someone like Matt Riddle, who overcame all of the odds, and all the adversity that was put in front of him, all of, I mean, come on, like, Matt Riddle coming into WWE, transitioning from MMA, doing what he does now, and doing it in it's not every day you get someone who transitions from that world and comes over and not only can actually do it physically, right, but from a sports entertainment aspect, just nails it, right? Like, he's great for WWE. He's perfect. And WWE had trouble for a while finding a lot of people like that who got it all, who got the full package, right? So it's kind of I'm happy for him. Get the help if that's the case. Good on him. Good on WWE for, being like, all right, we'll slap on the wrist, go get go get help and do what you got to do. I know he posted a picture with him and his girlfriend on Twitter recently, or a girl he's seeing or talking to, saying that he's feeling good. And look, hey, if you're feeling good, feeling great, that's great. I know a lot of people are like, I hope to see him back soon. Hey, let him take him however much time he needs. Yeah.
So just to clarify, so this is not the first time WWE had to write him off television delay plan. So this goes back over the summer. Remember, WWE wanted Riddle to have a match against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, but that match got pushed back to Clash of the Castle. I remember at the time the reason was a new creative direction. But now sources told Cassidy Haynes over at bodyslam.net that the reason for that pushback was because Riddle failed a drug test leading up to SummerSlam. That was under Vince McMahon's regime. But with him no longer in charge, the new creative direction under Triple H's era, they posted back to Clash of the Castle, but really he was off TV now. It looks like because of that failed drug test. The company informed Riddle at the time that another failed drug test would result in rehab or fired situation, similar to what Jeff Hardy previously. This leads to Matt Riddle most recent 6 weeks off television. That that's because he failed another drug test, so he's being sent to rehab. So this is his second failed drug test. So man, he failed 2 drug tests within less than 6 months. Man, that's not a good sign. So like you said, I hope they do. He does get help. He gets healthy. That's the most important thing in this situation. Now, did you see a report that normally 3 failed drug tests results in being fired, but now they got rid of that rule now, that policy?
Did they?
I thought I saw something on Twitter or something. My thing with, a lot of people are trying to compare this and Jimmy Uso's DUIs and Jeff Hardy stuff to the Mandy Rose situation. It's 2 separate things as far as, this is someone's life and as far as, their health and their well-being. So these are different policies. Like I said, it's tough to compare Mandy Rose's, nudie photos and stuff versus Riddle and his health and his well-being, his livelihood. That's 2 different things here. Now, a lot of people are saying there's double standards. I get it, yes. And there are times, like Jimmy Uso, he's gotten away with a lot of DUIs recently. Jeff Hardy. It's like in sports, if you're a very valuable person for a company or a sports franchise, they'll make exceptions and kind of work with you to kind of, make sure you stay on the team. So Riddle, he was in a popular tag team with Randy Orton. So, they see value in him. So they're going to do what they can to make sure he stays with the company, and they'll, flex the rules a little bit to make it work for him. Now, is that right? No, I know it's a double standard and that's not fair to other people, but we see that in other situations in sports.
Well, I feel like with the comparison with Riddle, it's not fair, it's double standard, comparing it to Jimmy Uso and everybody else. I felt like, well, if Mandy Rose, because we don't know the conversation that they had with Mandy, and if there was an ultimatum given, they could have said, hey, we need you to delete the page, and she could have been like, no. And so they're okay, there you go. Well, right, we have to let you go. Same with Jeff Hardy. We all know they wanted him to go to rehab. He said no, so they let him go. It's not like they let him go because he got a DUI. They tried to send him to get help. I mean, there was rumors of him going in a program with Roman Reigns. He did multiple interviews saying he wanted to face Roman Reigns. Like, that was one of his big goals in WWE. So, can't have you, buzzing in there with our champion, right?
Yeah.
But and even with this Riddle, I mean, I'm sure it would be a different story if Riddle was like, no, nothing wrong with me, everything's fine, I'm not going to rehab. I'm pretty sure we would have seen future endeavors to Matt Riddle as well,
Yeah.
But that's not the case because he actually took the help that they were trying to give them. So I don't think there's too much of a double standard when they offer. Again, we don't know if they told her beforehand or if they gave her a warning or if they but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like I said, for Riddle, I hope he does get better. Like I said, when you're a top star, you kind of get away with more things. Like I said, but is that fair? No, and that sucks that there's a double standard like that. But in this situation, it's about his livelihood. So definitely wish him the best, and gets through this, and hopefully we'll see him back soon, and for the better. So. Okay, I know we're running long here. Brian, just for the sake of time, let's go through a couple just quick highlights here from Raw and SmackDown the last week or so. Just your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. We saw the Bloodline just wreak havoc, NWO style, just beat up the roster, whoever's in front of them. I love this. Yes. I thought it was awesome that they were just going to town, beating people up. Ultimately, this led to... Kevin Owens saving Seth Rollins from a beatdown, and it led to the main event of Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins versus the Usos. Great main event here. Laying the foundation, for more layers to the story. Sami Zayn, we saw on SmackDown was the week before. That was announced that on December 30th, John Cena and Kevin Owens are going to face Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns just kind of wants to test Sami Zayn, his loyalty to him, make sure he's with him, not Kevin Owens, because, Sami slipped a little bit in one promo and said, he's my only friend. He said, he was my friend. Sorry, I meant he was my friend. So Roman's got a little reason to be, maybe not fully trust Sami still. John Cena's coming back. That's going to be a great main event this week on SmackDown. Looking forward to that. And then, on SmackDown on Christmas Eve, we saw Roman hug Sami, but he looked at the camera and says, "We're going to eliminate you." A lot of people think that's towards Kevin Owens, but some people worry, is that also a message for Sami Zayn? So I just kind of get your just overall thoughts on the state of the Bloodline, what we've seen from the last couple of weeks, as far as them creating havoc on Monday Night Raw, the upcoming match with Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, John Cena. Just kind of your overall thoughts on the state of the Bloodline.
Yeah, it's one of, you got to keep an eye on it. It's interesting to see. You definitely have to keep an eye on it. Sami Zayn knocking it out the park every time, like always. But I want to give credit to Jimmy Uso. I know Jay gets a lot of the credit. Okay. Solo Sikoa and his mysterious actions, and his just he's a mystery. We don't know what his motives and what his intentions are. So he gets talked about a lot. But Jimmy Uso, I think he's done really well over the last week. He had like a sit down with Roman for the first time in a long time, just himself, right, and talking. And I thought he did a really, really good job. Again, he's playing it right. He's saying all the right things. This time, it made it seem like he was almost setting up, Sami, and it just. Yeah. One thing I'll say about the Bloodline and this story is that the ending of this match coming up this Friday, what happens, who wins, who takes I know everyone's anticipating Kevin Owens and John Cena to win, with Sami Zayn possibly taking the pin. Everyone's been talking about that. I can't imagine Roman Reigns just beating Sami up for losing a match. Right?
There's got to be more to it. There's got to be more reasoning.
There's got to be a lot more to it. Maybe he refuses, because remember, him and Kevin did say that they're not going to fight each other. They don't want to fight each other. I don't think people are thinking about that, right? And which Kevin, is another reason. Why on, was it Monday, that Sami got in the ring, or maybe it was last Friday, I can't remember. Sami got in the ring with Kevin and then just left.
Oh, yeah.
But in that promo after War Games, they kind of split ways. I don't want to wrestle you. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to do anything. Like, we're not friends anymore. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Owens, the fallout. Yeah, you're right. The other thing, too, is, keep in mind with Sami Zayn, remember Kevin Owens told him, it's like, you might want to turn on them before they turn on you. So there could be a situation where maybe Sami's the one who realizes this is not for me and gets out. So that's yet to be seen. And so I love this. There's so much mystery here. I think a lot of people thought Sami was going to get beat down last week because he was all dressed up nice, hair up in a bun, little suit jacket on, but no. So I like how they keep teasing or thinking you're going to get it, and like, no, we're going to save that. So I hope it's going to be a big impact when it does happen, and that element of surprise. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing John Cena at least wrestling once this year in 2022. So that'd be 20 consecutive years he's wrestled at least one match in WWE. So it's going to be exciting. Big way to end the year for WWE, having John Cena back. Another thing from Raw last week that everyone's been talking about is the Miz versus Dexter Lumis ladder match, winner takes all, for all that money that was hanging up at the top. The big thing was, Miz wins by way of help from Bronson Reed, who's back in WWE. He pushed Dexter Lumis, helped Miz win the money. Bronson Reed's back in WWE. He was doing good things in New Japan as Jonah, and also had a little run in Impact Wrestling. This is all after his release last year. So, Brian, your thoughts on Bronson Reed back with the company?
Welcome back. I'm glad he's back. He's a big dude. Yeah. He honestly, I felt like he fits the main roster more than NXT. I feel like NXT, when he won the North American Championship, it was just kind of like, all right, wasn't really that exciting for me. But I like him being aggressive and tough. And I know everyone's not a fan of him being Miz's heater, which I don't think he's going to be Miz's sidekick. Why does everyone involved in Miz's story, everyone automatically thinks he's going to be Miz's sidekick? Yeah. He clearly, I don't know if anyone watches Raw Talk, but he clearly got paid money to do it, right? And then he took his money and he walked away. He didn't say he was coming to help Miz for good. I mean, if someone paid me money to do something, you go do the job and go your separate ways, Yeah. But good. I'm happy for him because I know that he really just wanted an opportunity, and he said that they had plans for him in NXT, and even talks of him. I know he had a couple of tryouts, like he was on Main Event a couple of times prior to the release. So it was a shock for him, So I can't be mad at someone who got let go, like just out of nowhere like that, right? Like, and it's just like everybody else Triple H just brought back. Like not like these people didn't want to be there. We all know that it was every single one of these names who got let go were all names we all went, know?
Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people were like, oh man, he beat Okada in the G1 this summer. And now he's a heavy for the
Now
Miz.
He's with the Miz.
Man, I did not see it like that. Like, this is a step down in his career. No, he got released from WWE, so he went out there to prove himself. He had some great matches in Impact Wrestling. I think he had a great match with Josh Alexander with the New Japan Pro Wrestling, beat Okada. So he proved his worth, and then the biggest company in the world saw that, brought him back. I think that's the right thing to do. Yep. Yeah, sure, he beat Okada. Yeah, good for him. Awesome moment for his career. But now he's back in WWE, getting a big payday for the biggest company in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. So I hate how people were like, oh, he beat Okada. Now he's working for the Miz. Oh, it's a step down. No, it's not. He's just improving himself.
Him being matched up with Miz is not a bad thing. Like, even if whether it's for one night, 1 week, 2 weeks. A short term thing with, like, and people forget. I saw a list going around and people were like, oh, Miz, all these people that were with him, and where are they now? But like Damian Sandow, right? The Mizdow thing, that was over. That was over. John Morrison, multiple tag team championships with the guy, right?
Yeah.
And then the list goes on and on and on.
I think for me, while people are hating on it, and I think
he's a former champion.
Yeah, Grand Slam champion, 2-time Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
My thing is just, I think part of it is just there's just Miz fatigue. I think we've seen so much Miz lately.
Sure.
He's kind of been in our face a lot. So I think a lot of people
tell the Miz that.
I know. He's friend of the show. But listen, I think people just got like Miz fatigue. And so they're just burnt out of him and his character. He's kind of been doing the same thing for a long time. And you see him do stuff with Ciampa, Gargano, Dexter Lumis. It was kind of going nowhere. Now you bring Bronson Reed in, and everyone's like, oh, now where's this going to go? So I think a lot of people just have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth because they're just burnt out on The Miz. Now, I hope whatever this partnership is, it's a short-term thing. Who knows? Maybe it's one night only. We don't know. Yeah, maybe it was just one night. He got paid one night and he's going to go off do his own thing. I hope Bronson does go maybe to SmackDown. I think it'd be a better fit there. But I'm glad to see him back. And so with that being said, I hope maybe Miz, maybe goes away for a little bit after this and kind of, makes people miss him again. So we'll see what happens. I'm just glad to see Bronson Reed's back, making money. That's all that matters. You're young once in your prime, make that money. So we'll see what happens. On SmackDown, though, I just do want to get your thoughts. So since last time you and I talked, we finally got to see the reveal of the real life form of Uncle Howdy with Bray Wyatt. So LA Knight confronts Bray Wyatt in the ring, says, you attacked me, you kidnapped me, you beat me up, I know it was you. And Bray Wyatt's like, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't. And sure enough, music hits, fog. Out comes a a real life person wearing a mask, the Uncle Howdy mask. He's a real person standing there with his hands on his jacket, laughing. That's became a real big discussion. The big reveal of Uncle Howdy. Your thoughts on Uncle Howdy in real life form?
I'm glad we got to see him finally. I know it was very short. Like, he didn't say anything. Yeah. He didn't really walk down the aisle. I know that they probably didn't want him walking around and hopping in the ring to give up too much of who he really might be. I still think that there's someone behind that mask who will really see that'll be revealed, a part of this whole thing. But I know I've seen a lot of backlash online about the whole segment and how, people are already tired of what Bray Wyatt's doing because he hasn't wrestled a match and he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Look, Bray Wyatt, if anybody gets to do this type of stuff, Bray Wyatt gets to, and I'm just appreciating it and I'm rolling with it. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is doing more for LA Knight than it is Bray Wyatt." That's okay.
I was gonna say I got to give props to LA Knight. He's been the MVP of this, carrying this feud for the most part. He's an amazing talker on the microphone, so his promos back and forth with Bray has been really entertaining. I am at the point now where it's like, okay, Bray, you gotta give me some more here. Like, give me a match. Now it looks like the rumor is like they're gonna have a pitch black match at Royal Rumble. Now it looks like there's supposedly it's tied into a Mountain Dew sponsorship. I'm a little worried of that because we've seen sponsorships in the past, how they were tied into matches, and that usually does not play out well. Like the zombie thing from last year, or whoever it was, the zombie thing with The Miz.
I think Damian Priest was involved, right?
And then the water, remember the squirt thing with New Day, the water thing.
Yes.
So anyway, I with that being said, I feel like this starts. It does need to progress a little bit. I think a lot of people are getting kind of like, all right, these promos are it's promos. Give us some more action here. This week on SmackDown, though, we saw Bray Wyatt come in the ring and said, "Hey, look, I told you it's not me. There's an actual person named Uncle Howdy." I was going real quick. I think a lot of people are joking on the Uncle Howdy thing because the mask looked kind of silly. And you standing there just like laughing. It just seemed, I think a lot of people thought it looked a little ridiculous. I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we'll see more. Like first reaction, it's like, oh, it's kind of goofy looking, this mask, and they kind of kept the camera on him for so long, standing there like laughing for like a minute. I think they should have kept it quick, like film him and then move on. Don't overstay your welcome.
Yeah.
With that being said though, Bray Wyatt this week on SmackDown comes down and says, "Hey, look, see, it wasn't me that attacked LA Knight. There was someone else, Uncle Howdy." But then when they said Uncle Howdy, it set him off and he attacked the cameraman and put the mandible claw on him. So it's still weird, like he's still triggered like that. And even we see Alexa Bliss on Raw, whenever the logo comes up, she goes into a trance and she attacked Bianca Belair this week in their segment. Took a vase, hit her in the back of the head. So I wonder, is Uncle Howdy playing Bray on SmackDown and trying to play Alexa Bliss on Raw? Are they going to come together? I kind of don't want to see them come together. I want to see Bray do his own thing separately. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air what's going to happen next.
I feel like they're trying to fake us out with the Alexa stuff.
Okay.
That's what I feel like. I feel like they're just trying to fake us out. It's a good reason, though, to bring it back up. Like, I'm glad she gave some type of explanation or just brought up. She said his name, and I'm glad that she just said his name. And so now we don't have to speculate, like, is this tied to Bray Wyatt or is it not tied? You know what I mean?
Well, she said, like, you guys, look what I've been through.
Yep.
I've been through. I was kidnapped by him, put under a spell. I had to go through therapy. So she kind of summed up her whole story arc from the last couple of years. I do appreciate they acknowledge that. It's like, I've been through a lot. But yeah, I think the Uncle Howdy, I hope I'm curious how they're going to fix this. 'Cause I think a lot of people, that first impression, I think a lot of people thinks it's a joke. So hopefully Bray can bounce back from this. It's going to be interesting how they use the magical stuff. on SmackDown, see where they go.
Right.
So we'll see. Also, just want to give a quick shout out, Dominic and Rey Mysterio segment, Christmas Christmas Day. That was funny on social media this week. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, Rhea Ripley got slapped by Dominic's mom, and Dominic got arrested. And so very funny clip here. So,
my mom slapped mommy.
Yes. He's like, mommy, call Finn, call Priest. I can't make it in prison. I'm not going to make it in prison. So I love that the storyline here. It's follow up from Thanksgiving. A lot of people say, hope they do a third part for New Year's Eve.
Oh, that would be great. And
I'm sure it's going to lead to a match at WrestleMania between Dominic and Rey. So
it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. What is it? It's got to involve Rey in the mask. I would love it to involve the mask.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
So yeah, no, like I said, a lot of fun stuff from the last couple of weeks. I know it's another long-winded episode here, but thank you everyone for sticking it out. So on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me at BrianTronic on both Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, at In The Kliq on social media, inthekliq@gmail.com. Subscribe where we get your podcasts at. We appreciate all the love and support. And yes, I think we'll be on the next episode of the Bulletcast, you and I. So just want to promote there. Bulletcast End of the Year Awards. So that'll be fun. Check out John LaRocca's Take It On podcast I did with him this week. That's another fun episode. So yeah, we're all over the place.
I'm gonna win all the casties.
I hope so, man. You deserve it. You're my champion. You're the real Bulletcast champion.
Yes.
Phil should give you that title to walk around with.
Yes.
So I'll share that link once it goes out and stuff. So, and on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.